Hello, this is Tim Bryce with the National Weather Service in El Paso, where we've endured a string of record high temperatures. Cooler weather's on the way. Unfortunately, it's also going to be coming in with some very strong winds on Thursday. Let's take a look at the weather briefing. Alright, this web briefing was recorded Wednesday afternoon, and we are talking about the strong winds on Thursday. What are some of the potential impacts we're looking at? Well, we are talking about very strong wind gusts of around 60 miles an hour or even higher on the eastern slopes of area mountains. That could lead to some isolated tree and power line damage. Of course, these strong winds make driving vehicles, especially the big 18-wheelers on the north-south oriented highways and roads, very difficult and challenging. We could see some areas of low visibility and blowing dust, especially if you're looking to travel west of Las Cruces tomorrow. What are we talking about for wind gusts? Well, anywhere from the mid-40s out west, around Deming and Lordsburg, to the mid-50s if you're just to the east of El Paso, even into the low to mid-60s in the Sacramento Mountains. So we are talking about some very strong winds, which, like I said, will make driving very hazardous tomorrow and could lead to some minor tree and power line damage. Like I mentioned, blowing dust will be possible. The main threat for blowing dust will be in the Lordsburg Deming area, but we could also see some across Las Cruces, El Paso, even down into Hudspeth County if we get a little more southwesterly in our winds. What's causing all this? Well, we got two weather factors. There's a big area of low pressure in the upper part of the atmosphere going to pass over the Four Corners region. Another area of low pressure will form at the surface. These two areas of low pressure will tighten up our pressure gradients, both aloft and at the surface, and these will give us strong winds that will combine to give us very, very strong winds on Thursday afternoon. So having said that, we do have wind advisory and high wind warnings in place for Thursday from noon to midnight. Basically, the high wind warning is more or less east of the Rio Grande, and that's calling for winds of 35 to 45 miles an hour with gusts to 60 miles an hour or even a little higher on the east slopes of area mountains. Of course, with the dry conditions that we've been seeing, fire weather conditions will be very high as well. We'll see critical fire weather conditions on Thursday with a red flag warning from noon to 8 p.m. That means there should not be any outdoor burning tomorrow. Minimum relative humidities will be 10 to 15%, so just extreme fire weather conditions so that we shouldn't be seeing any outdoor burning. Now, we do see some relief from our heat. So this is today's high temperatures that we were expecting. Like I said, record-setting temperatures across the region. On Thursday, the winds are going to blow in some cooler air, so almost 10 to 12 degrees cooler, and even a little cooler on Friday, almost getting us back down to normal. What are some of the uncertainties? Well, we are still trying to figure out exactly where that core of the highest winds will be. Will it be across northern Mexico, southern New Mexico? Exactly where will it set up? The strength of the wind gusts on the east side of the mountains is always in question, and exactly where the blowing dust channels will set up. This time it looks like the best locations will be out towards Deming and in the Lordsburg area. So like I mentioned, warnings and watches that are in effect. High wind warning is in effect east of the Rio Grande. Wind advisory is in effect for areas west of the Rio Grande for Thursday afternoon. Red flag warning there in the lowlands east of the Rio Grande on Thursday afternoon. And we could possibly see a blowing dust advisory issued during the day on Thursday if that blowing dust really gets cranking, especially out west around the Lordsburg and Deming area. So again, for a quick summary of the expected impacts, very strong wind gusts expected across the entire region Thursday afternoon with strongest winds east of area mountains. Of course, that'll lead to difficult driving conditions for those, especially in the RVs and the 18-wheelers. We'll also see blowing dust, which will make lower visibilities and hazardous driving conditions and possible road closures on Thursday afternoon, especially west of Las Cruces. And again, with the fire weather conditions being extreme, also expected with the dry conditions and the strong winds. So keep alert to the latest weather information. You can always check out our Facebook page, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, and of course our webpage at weather.gov/El Paso. Thanks for joining me.